Hello, Manta Rays. So today we will be looking at how to identify if lines are parallel when they are in a graph. So if we look back at our lesson about parallel lines, we know that parallel lines are lines that run, oh my goodness, we've done so much work, that run parallel to each other, right? They go in a line and never touch. So they're side by side, never touching, parallel lines. So lines that run side by side. We've been looking also at slope. So finding the slope by subtracting y of 2 and y of 1 and x of 2 and x of 1 and using the ordered pairs within a graph in order to find out what a slope is. So today what we're going to do is we are going to take the knowledge that we have around slope. So what is slope? The steepness of the line. And we're going to apply it to what we know about parallel lines. Lines that don't touch and move in the same direction side by side like railroad tracks or the lines on my paper. We're going to apply that with graphing. So we're going to look at some lines that have been graphed, and we're going to determine whether or not those lines are parallel. So let's take a look at a graph. So I have for you here a graph. You can see on this graph we have three different lines. We have a blue line, we have a red line, and we also have a green line. Our job is to determine which of the two lines are parallel to each other. And we're going to do that by looking at the slope. So what we're going to do is we are going to start with the blue line here, and we are going to take our different ordered pairs. So remember, as you climb the mountain, the first one we run into is going to be point number 1, and that is -4, -2. There's point 1, and point 2 is -3, 2. Okay, so there is point number 1 and 2 of the blue line. So we're going to use these numbers here. We're then going to use the numbers from the red. So point number 1 is here. And point number 1 is 0, -2. And then point number 2 up here. So here's the 2. So 0, -2, and this one is 1, 3. Those are the ordered pairs. That is the address of the dot, and that's what we're going to use. And then the last point we're looking at is this green line. And again, this is the first one here. So we have 3, -3. And then our second point that we're going to work with that they give us is 4, 1. 4, 1. Okay, so we're going to use these addresses from these dots to find the slope of the blue line, the slope of the red line, and the slope of the green line. You can also use your rise over run if you would like. For solving as well. So first we're going to take and just do some math and do some substitution here for the blue line. So the blue line here, remember that this was point 1 and these guys over here are point 2. So we're going to start with point 2 of the y's. So point 2 of the y minus point 1 of the y, and that goes over x2 minus x1. So we're going to use these points that we have here in order to solve. So let's go ahead and start with point number 2 in the y spot. So point number 2 in the y spot, we're going to substitute in for this y here, and that one is a 2. Then we're going to use the y of point number 1, and we are subtracting that. All right. And this all goes over point number 1 of the x, which is, or point number 2 of the x, which is negative 3 minus a negative 4. All right, so now we're going to subtract these from each thing, and we're going to find what our slope is. So we know that a negative and a negative is like removing negatives, and so that is actually addition, and so that is 4. And on this one, we have negative 3, but again, we're going to add that to a positive 4, which means that I have 1 left over. And 4 over 1 is equal to 4, or a slope of 4. So go ahead and put this part into your notes of how to solve for the slope of this line. We can also see that the slope of the line here, if we go, let's try to use the highlighter tool, and I'm going to highlight with yellow. If that's the highlighter, yeah. Okay, so if we go rise, so rise 1, 2, 3, 4, there's our 4 on our rise, and then our run, we run till we get to the dot, and that is 1, or 4 over 1. That is the slope of the line. So the steepness in this line is up 4 over 1 between these two dots. Now, we can use rise over run to find the red one, or you can choose to do subtraction, your choice. But this one, you go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, and then over 1. So the red slope, the slope of the red line is 5 over 1, or just 5. So those two lines right here, the red and the blue, those are not parallel because the slope of the blue is 4 and the slope of the red is 5. So these two lines, not parallel. If they were parallel, they would have the exact same slope. So now let's check out slope of line of the green line. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out the slope of the green line. The slope of the green line, we are going to, again, let's practice with the y values. So this was point number 1, and this is point number 2. Point 2 comes first. So 1 minus a negative 3 over line 2, which is 4 minus line 1. Point 1, which is 3. All right, so we know that these, and removing negativity gives us a positive, and 1 plus 3 is 4, and 4 minus 3 is 1. So this slope here is actually 4, and we can double check this slope by looking at the highlighter tool, and if we go 1, 2, 3, up 4, rise 4, and over 1, we do get 4 over 1. So the slope of the green line is 4. So it looks like the two lines that are actually parallel are the green line and the blue line. So the blue line and the green line, those two are parallel. And the reason why they're parallel is because they both have the same slope of 4. So blue and green are parallel. Red, not parallel. Eventually red, as it goes on, is probably going to hit the green line as it continues on. All right, go ahead and hit pause right now so you can put this information into your math journal. And then when you are ready, come on back. Okay, because we're going to do a try it now. So let's go ahead and do our try it. And our try it that I have for you, go ahead and write down these points and then solve. And when you are ready, you can come back and I'm going to do the problem in our notebook so that you can see how to solve these on your own notebook. So go ahead and take a look at the points, hit pause so you don't hear me solving. And then when you're ready, hit play. All right, so I have the points written for us here for our try-its. I did my notes up above for the first one. And on this one, we're going to look at, the first line is blue. So I am going to take blue y's and subtract those starting with 0.2. So I have 3 minus 1 over 3 minus a negative 3 for the x. Okay, so let's solve. So 3 minus 1 is 2, and 3 minus a negative 3 gives me, oh, no, Miss Englander, we're adding 6. So 2 over 6, or we can simplify 2 over 6 as 1 over 3. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the red line. When we look at this red line, we have our y values. We're going to start with the second y value, which is 2. And we're going to subtract that from the first y value, which is 0, over the 5 minus our x value number 1, which is 1. So 2 minus 0 is 2. 5 minus a negative 1 is like adding, which gives us 6. Ooh, look at that. Those two are parallel already. So blue and red are parallel. Let's check green and see if that one is parallel as well. So we're going to start with the green, negative 1, and then the y of 0.1 minus negative 3. Again, those add. So negative 1 plus 3. So I have negative 1 in the bank, and I add $3 to it, which means I have a positive 2. Ooh, look at that, positive 2. And I have negative 4. Miss Englander, 4. Start with the first one. 4 minus a negative 4 for the second one. Those add, and I get 2 over 8. So that one is 1/4. Man, we were so close to having triple parallel lines. All right, so our parallel lines, our two lines that are parallel, are the blue line and the red line. So again, this is just another way for you to use slope to determine which lines are parallel, which ones would run into each other. So somewhere here, go ahead and answer your essential question. How do you identify parallel lines in a graph? What strategies do we use? How do we solve for that? And then go ahead and check your level of understanding out to the side. If you have any questions, come on back to the Google Meet and ask me, or rewatch the video, your choice. Otherwise, you may go on and do your practice work. As always, I appreciate all of your hard work, and remember, it's a great day to be a manta ray. Thank you.